We'll figure it out as we go. But
Right.
Ralph, the college football playoff, it's set up its schedule for its rankings releases. And obviously that's a big piece, when all the Big Ten, or not even just the Big Ten, but all the media days, hoopla was going on and all these quotes were flying left and right. One of the big ones was obviously having to do with some changed feelings per se on the playoff. Where do you think we sit with that and any evolution or changes to it? Are we sitting pat for a while, or how do you kind of view that at this point after all that's taken place over the last few months?
So, yeah, they're going to start meeting again and digging into this stuff in the next, couple of months. I think they have a couple scheduled, and there could be a couple more over between like late August and mid-October. And I wouldn't be surprised if you got some momentum moving a little more quickly now. I do think that, the Big Ten sort of has loosened its stance. And listen, again, I don't want to be super long-winded. We can go into the minutia of all this wrangling, but let's not do that. I'll just safe to say that I think there's an opportunity here for, after last year's snarled traffic jam, for things to sort of open up and everybody to sort of finally get on the same page. I know a lot of people were very excited about this idea of 16, and it sort of made the rounds. And I'm not saying that they're not talking about a lot of different options, but I don't know if there was sort of like, that was portrayed as momentum towards 16, as opposed to just like, hey man, we're talking about a lot of things, and sure, we're going to talk about 16 too.
Yeah, the 12-team proposal that they had last year, I mean, it almost brought a tear to my eye as a college football fan, Ralph. It seems so well thought out, as far as all these things. And, like they really did sit in a room and say, well, what if this happens? What if this happens? They had, for the first time in a long time, it was a college football plan that had answers to a lot of questions. And then it got wrangled up because of, like you said, minutia. So I would think that throwing 16 maybe makes 12 like, it just seems like, well, we agreed on 12, but 16 was in there. It seems like one of those things you throw out politically, so it seems like everybody came to an agreement that they'd already come to a year ago.
Yeah, I mean, there could be a little of that. I wouldn't be surprised if we end up getting to what we were talking about last year, which would be quite ironic to have wasted a year and go to the land exactly where you were. I just haven't figured out what the motivations for 16 are. I really did. I'm with you. When I sketch these things out on my notepads when I'm on long flights, like the 12 thing, even before they unleashed it, sort of like had a lot of good answers to some of the questions I was asking. And I thought it checked a lot of boxes too, and it still does to me. So I still feel like that's the right answer. But, listen, all of a sudden the SEC's got to readjust, and you just have now these constituencies sort of getting in their corners again and saying, well, you know what did I want the last time that I didn't get? Maybe I'm going to try to get that this time, right? You just have some of the power brokers who have a little more leverage now might want to throw a little weight around on some things. And my guess is that ends up being in the realm of who has automatic access to this thing.
Ralph, this is a very